A lot of deals are falling apart right now. Days into it, 5 days away from closing, the deal blows up because proper
Everybody's packed
things.
up. Those are probably the nightmare
Yeah.
closings.
Guys with tattoos that have just started crying.
What advice would you give to somebody who's getting into real estate right now?
To get linked up with the right people that can train them properly. Right now, it's not the sales that most people think it is, where you're just showing houses and you're selling like a used car salesman property. It's more about information selling. You got to know the market inside and out. And if you haven't been in a market like this, you need to make sure you're either being mentored by the right person on the right team or being coached and consulted by somebody that understands the market of these challenging circumstances. Things have changed in the last year. We're definitely in some type of buyer's market or going towards that. So if you don't know how to navigate that and have those powerful conversations with buyers and sellers, you're going to struggle. So I would say first and foremost, you need to get linked up with the right brokerage, with the right training, with the right team, similar to what we have to offer with Place. I think that would definitely get you set off on the right foot to be successful in a challenging, shifting market.
What are some tools that you think we're using now that either weren't available in general before or not available to us that have made a difference in our business?
Well, obviously all the artificial intelligence that's going on out there now. And the internet, when I first started, the internet wasn't a big thing in '05. It was just starting to roll out. If you don't know how to utilize the internet at a high level and respond to buyers and sellers very quickly, they just move on to the next potential prospect. That's one of the things that we provide to all of our agents and business partners on our team is that there's immediate correspondence as soon as somebody reaches out and says, hey, I'm interested in buying or selling real estate, which allows you to service much more people. We know real estate's a numbers game. The more people you talk to at a high level, the more likelihood you get an opportunity or an at bat to meet with one of those people and service them and help them buy or sell real estate. So I think the technology piece that's been weaved into our business has been mind blowing over the last 5 to 10 years. And if you don't understand that or don't have that as a resource, you're going to struggle in this industry. You're going to be out of the industry, quite frankly. What are the 4 reasons that they want to do business with us? The first thing is our technology. Second thing, we're an open book. When you sign up with us, you have opportunity to see everything that's happening on the back end. A lot of disappointment with people when you see this $5, $6, $10,000 commissions. What the hell did you do to earn it other than put a contract together? You actually see the 100 and some odd 80, 190, 200 items that we're doing on the back end. We're very transparent. We're technology driven. We have a wonderful track record of selling properties at a high volume. And those type things mean a lot to a customer when they're paying somebody a good amount of money from the equity in their home in order to be serviced. So I think those 4 things definitely set ourselves apart from most agents, and having the opportunity from a customer standpoint to be tuned in and constantly coached and consulted and told what's next and this is what's happening with a shifting market and challenges on getting things to closing because we're seeing so many things fall apart at this point. They need to have their finger on the pulse of what's going on. The time of you just writing a contract and showing up to the closing table and picking up a check, that's long gone. You got to bulletproof the contracts. You got to know every step and every detail of what's going on. And you need to make sure your agent's properly servicing those things. If they don't know it, they're not going to be able to put a deal together and get you to the closing table so you can move on with your goals and plans in life. Well, everybody knows the reasons the house sells. There's really only 3 reasons. It's price, promotion, what the heck your agent's doing on the back end, and preparation. So what a seller can control is the price that we ask for the house, because ultimately I don't set the price, the market does, and the seller decides what price they want to come in at to be aggressively priced enough to allow my technology to attract a buyer that's going to buy a house. And it's the prep work that needs to go in before the house goes to sale. A lot of people get overwhelmed with that portion of it. But it's just like selling a car. Before you put a car on the market, you freshen it up, you wax it, you declutter it and take all the trash out and do a deep cleaning and a vacuuming. A lot of that goes a long way. As far as the decluttering piece, we have professional stagers that will come in at our expense and consult with our customers to get the house done right. But for the most part, there's not a lot of expense there. It's just a little bit of sweat equity, spending a weekend, pressure washing the house, cutting back the bushes, putting down some fresh mulch, cutting the yard, decluttering the house, pulling out any unneeded furniture, any unneeded personal belongings, and really making it that hotel feel. Living in a house and selling a house are two completely different deals. And you have to have a buyer walk through that property and see themselves in that property. And if it's too personalized, too cluttered, people are just going to go on to the next. And right now, more so than ever, it is important that how are you going to set yourself apart? What are you going to do different than these other houses? Because the inventory is starting to increase. You have to set yourself apart. How are you going to win the competition? Your house is now a commodity. Price it right, promote it properly, and last but not least, spend a little prep work. Clean it up, get it ready for sale. You might have to spend a little bit of money, but not hundreds of thousands of dollars to have a house ready for sale. It's just a little sweat equity and cleanup a lot of times. Well, believe it or not, I got my real estate license in 2005, and clearly you can think of the level of emotion people had when they were losing their house. They were moving from the South Shore to the North Shore, and I picked up this potential client. She probably was in her early to late 70s, an elderly woman, and there were some things that came up along the way. Some of them I could have controlled, some of them I could have set better expectations, but it was my first deal in real estate. It was a $365,000 house, which in our market at the time was, 15, 20 years ago, that was a high dollar property in Meadowbrook. And this lady went pretty ballistic on me. I even heard some F-bombs from a 75-year-old woman, which, I hadn't heard come out of people. My grandmother never had talked like that. And she was the sweetest little lady. But later she came back and apologized to me, obviously. It was just a highly emotional time in real estate. But I don't know if that was a funny story or not. But I have learned over, nearly a 20-year period of time of selling real estate, you see the absolute worst and best in people. And I think that's more imperative than anything to have a real estate agent involved, because our job is to keep margins within people, because it's a highly emotional thing of buying and selling residential real estate. And with a realtor that's been around the block, that knows most answers to most questions, not all questions, but for most answers that come up, setting proper expectations, holding somebody's emotions in check, and helping them get to their end game and their goals is where we make our money a lot of times. We know that we have to have almost a psychological degree to work with people sometimes when it's a highly emotional thing and people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on these properties. It's our job as the realtor to get involved with them, hold them under our wing, and get them to the goal, which is ultimately getting a house. And she's given me referrals over the years, and we laugh about our experience, but it was a pretty crazy thing. Now, I've had guys that are like motorcycle guys with tattoos that have just started crying because it was the first house they ever bought. So there's a lot of really cool stories, and that's what's always attracted me to real estate, is always a different circumstance, always a different personality. Every day is different. Nothing's ever the same, which is very rewarding, seeing somebody achieve a goal that they've had their whole life of home ownership, and you have this one little part in it. And for them to get, the motorcycle guy crying and getting upset at the closing table was pretty nice and engaging to be a part of. So I've had different clients over the years, been F-bombed, been hugged, been cried on, and everything else in between. Pretty cool industry. Well, what type of research and analysis do I do prior to listing a house? Obviously, I try to get all the information on the front end on the size of the home, the square footage of the home, the location of the home, what the house has to offer, things of those nature. That nature always dictates the price we're going to ask for the property. And more so than any time, these last 12 months in real estate is an imperative that your realtor understands market conditions and how to price a home appropriately. You got to price it right. If you don't price it right, I don't give a heck who the heck you hire to sell it. It's just not going to happen. You have to price it compared to the other active listings, under contract listings, and pending listings. I always like to look at 3 to 5 sold listings that have sold in the last 6 months, but hopefully the last 90 days, that are as most comparable to your home as possible. And that gives us a baseline, but you do have to remember that happened 6 months ago, 90 days ago, and the market's constantly shifting and changing. We know rates are going up. We know homeowners insurance is going up. We know supply is starting to go up. All these things dictate the price we ask. So something that happened 6 months ago is not necessarily going to happen right now. That's why you want to look at under contract properties. That's what's happening right now in the market. Those houses have gone under contract in the last 30 to 45 days and will be closing soon. So that's a good indication to see if the market's taken a step back at all from that 6 month previous. Then you want to look at the active listings. What am I actually competing against? What do I have to beat? What conditioned home, size of the home that I'm similar to, that I'm going to be competing against, that I have to stand out when a buyer's shopping 3, 5, 10 properties now, opposed to maybe one on the market 12 months or 16 months ago. So there's definitely a science behind it. You have to have an agent that's been around the block, and pricing out literally thousands of homes in my career, I'm usually pretty spot on or within 3 to 5% of what it should sell for. And I know how to price ahead of the market. That is the key piece right now. You must price ahead of the current market conditions because we know the market is starting to take a step back. If you don't price ahead of the market, that means price a little hair below what you think it should sell for. You're not going to show a good enough value. You're going to get into a situation where you're chasing the market down, doing price adjustments to ultimately get to that right price. Price it right from the beginning. I tell customers all the time, your house is most valuable the day it hits the market. Every day it sits on the market, it erodes value and loses money day after day after day. And the key is to be priced right from the beginning and get it sold in 45, 30, even 2 weeks. We still can sell houses in 2 weeks. It just has to be priced right and promoted properly, and has to be staged and prepped properly. Those three things line up, we can sell a house in a 10-day, 7-day period in any market. Agents that are quite frankly getting out of the business, we expect a third of the industry to get out of the business in the next 6 months. It's going to happen. And last time in 2008, the same thing happened. I was a part of all that. That's changed. Moving forward, when we see this group exiting, there's a huge opportunity for people like us that run businesses that know how to navigate any market, especially challenging markets. And customers, more so now than any time, need a highly skilled agent that knows the market, understands how to interpret the market, can coach and consult with them at a high level to get them to their goals. And it's just going to give us more opportunity to take more market share. They say the market share you gain in the shifting market is market share that you never lose if you choose not to lose it. And we plan on scaling our business to successful realtors that know how to talk the talk, walk the walk, and do that skill set of information selling, understand the market, be able to be the economist of choice in the area. That's what we coach our agents to do. And they understand the markets so they can talk at a high level to customers, so they can understand it in layman's terms, so they can make good educated decisions for themselves and move forward with their plans and not be stuck in a depreciating asset. So it's more so now than ever to have somebody that can understand this market and interpret it at a high level, or you're going to be out of luck.
Well, I think the first step that buyers want to take is, let me go look at some houses. I want to see what's out there. I want, those kind of things, because there's a fear and there's maybe hesitation around getting their credit pulled or divulging personal information, sharing information with the lender, filling out the application. Like, it is pretty intrusive, and it could be gathering documents. And I mean, sometimes you just don't want to look at it or deal with it. It's not the fun part. Let's just say that. It's not the sexy part about buying a house. However, it's, if you don't start there, or I feel really lost, it handicaps the whole process, because I can be showing you houses and that's fine. And we'll get to a point where they're quoting you insurance and taxes, and you're like, oh, I didn't know I had to pay this much every month for this. Oh, I didn't know that was gonna be my down payment. Oh, I didn't know I had to pay that. Those things come up, and then it just, like, if you love the house, it's gonna crumble you and it's gonna set you back. But also, it's just gonna delay the whole process of you getting to the goal of buying a house. So the first thing that we do, the very, very first thing, even over the phone, I try to express the importance, and hopefully they understand. If a buyer's motivated, they'll absolutely understand, because then they want to gain that clarity. If they have clarity around what they can do, then that makes it where they're like on board with it. So we'll talk with a lender, and they are lenders. Sometimes they'll have their own. What I do try to express strongly is a local lender, somebody who knows our market. Markets are different everywhere. Hyper local is what we try to focus on, especially with the financing on our end, with flood insurance, insurances right now, the things that are just important to our market. You probably don't want to have a market or a call center somewhere we're calling and trying to find somebody in California to deal with the market happening over here. So that's one thing. So we do have lenders that we know. If it's somebody that you know, by all means, as long as we've heard the name or we know the reputable company, we're all about working with those people. However, the very first step is getting you first pre-approved. And then the next thing I do is having a strategy session with you. We're going to sit down. I'm going to teach you all about buying a house. If you don't know what it's like to buy a house, first of all, you're going to feel ill-informed, and that's a lot of pressure on me to try to tell you how it's going to be, or it feels like I'm selling, and I'm not selling you on buying a house. So I want to educate you on how to buy a house so that you know what out-of-pocket fees are going to be involved, what it's going to look like, the timelines, what emotional, I'll put it on. It's almost like I scare you out a little bit at the beginning. I want you to know the challenges or the obstacles that might show up along the way so that you're prepared. Because then when it happens, you're like, oh, we talked about this. And so it makes it normal. It is normal. I like to joke about it. There's a sheet and it goes through the list of process, and it never, ever, ever goes in that straight line, step by step by step. It's all over the place. It's muddy. There's people involved. There's emotions involved. But letting you know up front that I've seen this before, it's typical, that will sort of keep you in range to get through the whole buying process. So number one, by far, is getting you pre-approved, and then having that very important strategy session for me to teach you how to buy a house and for you to teach me what you need in a house and what your goals are to get accomplished in this whole process.
What do we always tell customers? It's better to ask 300 to 500 questions on the front end than ask 3 or 4 and show you all these houses and not know where the heck to go. How's that going?
I know. A lot of buyers will say, oh, I love looking at houses. That's very true until you've looked at 20, 30 houses with an agent, and then it gets frustrating. You're frustrated with me. I by far am frustrated with you. Somebody's missing the mark. The goal here isn't for us to just go look at a bunch of houses. It is exhausting. When I've gotten the list from people and it's, can you narrow it down to your top 5, and they insist on 8, 9 properties, by the end of the day, the weekend, they're worn out. The houses all run together. And inevitably, they don't all meet their actual criteria. There aren't that many properties that will work for you when we get down to the specifics. So if we can, in our initial strategy session, build out the questions and let me talk you through it, explain to me how your life is. What do you live like? Is the backyard really important? Or are you just thinking it's going to be important? Like, what do you do right now in your world that we need to make sure that when you move, it's going to feel like a move up, like a step in the right direction for you to have the life that you want? Because the safe spot or the safe place, the place is going to be your home. And if I can't help you create that, then I feel like I haven't done my job.
I've seen the presentation you do so many times. There's a graph that you use. And can you explain that graph on finding their things that they're looking for? Location, 3 little prong graph that really explains the buying process really well, and being able to deliver on what they're looking for and be able to narrow it down to 3, 5, 7 properties at most.
Yeah.
That this is what you're going to look at. This is what's available. One of these 3 to 5 homes are buy.
I compare it to if I went shopping and I walked into this big department store and they ask me, what are you looking for? And I'll say, oh, I need a black dress. That is like, okay, what does it look like? How long? How short? Is it tight? There's all different types of black dresses. So when you come down, you sit with me and you're like, well, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I need it to be $500,000 and I need to be in this area. Well, that doesn't give me anything to go. In your mind, if you can't get me to that point in your mind where I'm seeing, sometimes I'll have even like, can you show me pictures? Can you show me, even if they're not listed right now, active, give me a visual support to what you're talking about. And from there, we look at 3 things. So the ideal is that we would get you 2 out of the 3 top things.
You never get all 3.
You never get all 3. Even if you built your own house, you're going to have to give on some things. So you can get the price that you want, you can get the location that you want, or you can get the amenities that you want. In any way or any scenario, you're going to have to give on some things. It's going to have to be where you're taking price and location, you're going to have to give up some amenities, or you're willing to do location and amenities, go up on price, or the other way around where price and amenities you can't give up. So I'm just going to switch my location because I can get that in this area versus this area. So we talk about your top 3 things. What are the things that you will not, like your non-negotiables? That's one thing that we don't touch. Your non-negotiables have to be in every property I show you. Then we build a list of what would be ideal, like what would be your favorite things to have but not necessary, and you wouldn't, and then what are your deal breakers? Those are actually I'll probably start with your have to haves, non-negotiables, and then your deal breakers, because process of elimination will get me off your deal. But like if you don't want a pool, easy, I won't show you a house with a pool.
Go look at those.
No, we don't even have to look. If you don't want something on sewer and septic, easy, I'll take those out. So those things are easier for me to get to. It's the non-negotiables, but then you got to add on a few things. Like, yeah, I'd like a walk-in closet, but it doesn't have to be too big. Like, these things are where it makes the house stand out for you, and I need to get to the root of that. And then if it's a couple or a family, then it gets where I need to have everybody's input so that we can know, because it will have to be, eventually you'll have to pick one. And so what's the one that works for everybody? And then you're going to have to tell me what is most important, and then we'll just build it out based on that.
What are some things that you wish every home buyer knew before purchasing their first home?
You probably won't get to all the projects you think you're going to get to. So if the house doesn't meet at least, I'm going to say 80% of your needs, don't buy it, because you're going to be in this endless cycle of, oh, we're going to get to it one day, and then you'll end up, which you've called us 5 years later and it's the same projects you haven't gotten to. And that almost makes me sad that you didn't get to enjoy it, or the money's not worth it. And sometimes really making those repairs isn't worth it. So maybe not compensating so much or compromising so much on what you want, unless it's specifically you're wanting a project house.
What are some negotiation tips for buyers in this market? When should they be pushing for concessions? What are buyers in position to actually negotiate right now with this shifting market?
I think everything is negotiable in any market, obviously, but right now because the insurances are a little bit higher, the house prices haven't gone down very much because the inventory is so low and the interest rates are high. There's not a lot of wiggle room for either side. It just seems to be where it needs to be an actual meeting of minds. Sellers, if they want to sell their house right now, they're going to have to come to the table with something to offer on top of obviously agreeing to price. And buyers have to also understand that the sellers are not going to be willing to give away their property just because now your interest rate's higher. So it's this thing where if it works for you for now, then you do that. And then when the market or the interest rates drop a little bit, we can come back and renegotiate, or you go back and refinance it. But and we're still having people trying to undercut, or I don't know what the right word is offering sellers way under price because my insurance right now is so high and my interest rate is so high. I understand that, and it is unfortunate. This market isn't something that you can show up now to the seller and make them pay for what the market's giving you. So I think understanding that the market is what it is, and we do go through the dynamics and show you what the sellers are expecting or what's selling right now, list to sales price, and that's important that those ratios are what they are as well, and they apply to you like they apply to the seller. You wouldn't overpay a seller just because they needed extra money. So the expectation of the reverse also isn't something that we can work with buyers right now.
But what are you seeing actually on contracts currently? Writing contracts, what are buyers requesting that they weren't requesting 6 months ago, a year ago?
We've talked about closing costs being requested. We are seeing home warranties make a comeback, the oldie but goodie. So home warranties are things, more repairs are being asked for and allowed. We're having buy downs, so the seller's offering to buy your rate down. So that is something that is a great win-win for both, right? So the seller has to sell and the buyer does, and then so they make a meeting of the minds and I'll help you. And some sellers are offering that before we even walk in the door. It's in the way they're marketing their home. So that's been helpful because buyers can get in, and then it makes it where the seller gets a good price for their home and they can move in the timely fashion that they need to be. So the buy downs are great. Some concessions are good. Repairs are being made. And then the home warranties, I think, something that wasn't offered about a year ago.
2023 is coming to an end, and everybody's starting to look at, anybody that's running a business like we are is looking at business planning for 2023. What are we currently doing as a place operator, running a big team, selling a lot of houses to plan for 2024, knowing there's a shifting market? Looks like there's being some type of recession or setback with the number of homes that will be sold in 2024. What are we doing to fireproof our business so we stay profitable, we can continue to scale our business, and make sure our agents are properly prepared with the right mindset and the right business plan in place to go after their goals?
Yeah. So when we joined, initially we joined in December. So we had missed the business planning that had gone on the previous year. And so this is the first time we're able to partake in that as well. And it started early October. They started talking about it, and they're rolling out. First, it's just training classes, just about mindset, and then a lot about the market and the dynamics going on. And then it slowly started to shift into goal setting. So it starts with the operators or the business owners and setting their intentions for the vision or the state of the company. So we set that first, and then it trickles down into both sides, so sales and then admin, and they both set their goals. And so everybody has their own business and what they need to get for their life to work. And so they're building their own businesses because they are business owners within our business. So they're building their own business plans, and they're getting workshops around that, and they're getting their own business plan together. And we're going to go out of town after we built that. First time we've done, actually it's been a long time since we've gone
to a location,
to an actual location. It'll be nice. We'll have some.
Where are we going? It's pretty fancy. To be on this team, you go to a pretty cool business planning clinic.
We're going to go to Florida. We're going to Pensacola for 2 days, or we get to spend, we'll have the food,
So what, all
obviously.
13 of our staff members and agents are all going to Pensacola to a condo, and we're going to sit and have a powwow for 24 hours about what we're going to do to navigate
we'll have
this market.
vision boarding and presenting that. We'll have a team, not rock climbing, but outdoor activity.
Yeah, we
We're
do.
going to do on the beach, we're sitting I mean, it's going to be a lot of
team
bonding,
building
which
activity,
I love, the soul talks and the really important stuff. Because what drives your business is your life. The only reason you're working is if you didn't need it, you probably wouldn't do it. So what do you need, and how can the business fit in to that
What
to
does
help you
Chris
get it?
Suarez call this? Doing things.
Experiential life.
Yeah, we're looking for an experiential
living.
life. Yeah, right. What we
Yeah.
do for a living is tied into what we are allowed to do in our day-to-day life. And that's why we work so hard.
Yeah. There's a lot of fulfillment in real estate with helping people and the emotional side of it, and it is exciting, and I love my house, and so knowing that you helped somebody find their house and just having a part of somebody's chapter, whether they're moving in or out of the house, is nice. But on the flip side of that is just allowing the flexibility of real estate, the flexibility of being on a team, the support staff on a team, the mentoring, the training that allows me to be able to venture out and have more of an experiential life and live more fully and not so bogged down by the entrepreneur life or the whole ups and downs and scales of sales. It is quite refreshing to be able to take a little bit of risks, to work a little less long hours and nights. I mean, it still happens, but if I had to do all the things that needed to be done for the transactions for the business without the support of the team, it would take a lot longer, and I would be working 60, 80 hours a week. And so paring that down so that I have room for an actual life, and Keller Williams forever, life by design. And so designing the life that we want around it, and then Place teaching you how to do it at a high level so that your clients can benefit from you being the best agent they can have. If I'm getting my hair colored, if I'm getting makeup done, if I'm getting anything doctor-wise, I want the best at what they do to be on my team or on my side. So being that and taking pride in training yourself and learning the skill set of being an agent, because sales is easy. Yeah, you can. Anybody could probably show you a house and sell it. But learning the details and the process of selling a home really is an art and a skill that you need to master. You do have to study the market. You do have to study some of the real estate laws. You do have to know a lot of things that help you. And so doing that within the team, I think, is really helpful to have a support around you, not just the staff, but knowing you can talk to the other agents going through the same thing. And so it kind of gives you a measure, or like we talk about those boundaries of if you're doing it right, if you need help, if you're off track, all those things to keep you on. So it almost illuminates the path for you to get the life that you want within real estate for you and your clients. I mean, if you're doing well, your clients are doing well. And I don't mean financially, I mean emotionally. If you're enjoying it, then they're going to get a better version of yourself, a better version of you, a better experience for them too.
Very cool. Can you tell me the difference between being pre-approved and approved to buy a house?
Yeah, so credit approval is just you filled out the application and you gave us the bare bones of what we need to know if you can qualify, what your income is, if you have a job, those kind of things. Now, the second part of that, or when you get the house and the pre-approval, which a lot of the lenders that we work with, we like for them to go a little bit deeper, just that one step further so that we know there's not going to be any hiccups or any surprises to you. It's not just for us. I don't want you to be 30 days into this thing and not be able to buy a house all of a sudden.
Or even worse, 35 days into it, 5 days away from closing, the deal blows up.
Everybody's packed up. Those are probably the nightmare closings
and
where
those
things
have happened
fall
before.
apart.
And it's because sometimes people want to choose their own
use the
lenders that we recommend.
And you can't, I told you so in those moments, so you just have to go with it. But from there, they're going to ask you for bank statements, and they're going to contact your job, and they're going to talk to your boss, and they're going to get some proof of employment, and they're going to get all that information from you, and they're going to have, for what you provided as far as information, they're going to get the actual factual on paper, turning it into underwriters and take you through it. That's the clad, tight approval that nothing can go wrong once you have that. If it's a lender that knows to get you through that process first and not just go off of what you said, because not that you lied, but it's not enough information sometimes for what the underwriters need or for the intricacies of the type of loan that you're using. Sometimes they just need a lot more verification, and having a lot of that done up front, getting you pre-approved is going to be, or really qualified is going to be very important or critical to getting your house closed, to getting you closed.
How can buyers find the right mortgage options?
So on top of just getting pre-approved, buyers have this idea that it's not a one size fits all, and it's not what the sellers wants, and it's not what's typical in the market. It's really what you can qualify for one, but also within that qualification. So not just I can qualify for $600,000, but there's also Well, you can sort of tailor that into, well, how much do you want to put down? And do you want a 30-year mortgage? Do you want a 15-year mortgage? Can you approve for that? Do you want to buy your own points down? How much do you want to, get away from paying mortgage insurance? Those things can all be fixed. So when we talk about having a lender speak to you specifically about your financial situation, is you get to have all the scenarios laid out, and then you get to actually pick what fits my life best and what am I going to choose. You get to choose. Like, they're going to give you what you qualify for within that umbrella. You get to choose what scenario you're going to work with, and having a lender that's going to give you that, your fees, your options, your loan length, lenders that sort of give you. And sometimes we'll try to compare lenders because it's not apples to apples. Sometimes they throw in the fees and it's confusing. So you want to make sure when you're comparing loans as well that you have apples to apples and not just different fees thrown at you. So understanding that and having lenders that will sit and talk to you about that. And that's the reason we work or we align with some of the lenders that we do, is because they will walk our clients and give them the opportunity and the power to choose what they want as opposed to what they're trying to fit them in. So having loan options mean that you get to know the scenarios up front and you get to decide what fits better for you and your family or you and your life. Tell me about 2024 with Place now that we've been in it for a whole year.
It's been a full year. We've literally over doubled the size of our business. We've stayed profitable throughout. We're increasing our agent count. We're retaining our agents, which is also great. But Place helps us a lot with that because they have so many unbelievable trainers. Every day there's something for them to tune into and get that, quite frankly, may be better than you or I can deliver to them. I'm still blown away by the amount of resources the company offers us. We knew when we joined Place it was going to be a 3-year project to get us back to relevance, to where we wanted to go again, selling 300 to 500 homes a year. We had taken a step back for 4 years, but when this opportunity presented itself, I basically said, where the heck do I sign? I knew Ben's track record. I knew Chris Suarez's track record. I knew they had something going on. And the cool thing with Place and partnering with them, I mean, this is a startup company that is going to be worth billions of dollars. And they have a lot of incredible agents and partners and operators work. I have ownership in a big time company. And anybody that partners with me also has ownership in this company. And we're still small enough. I tried to compare this to one of the old time Keller Williams agents the other day that I was talking to on the phone that started this region. It feels like Keller Williams was maybe back in the late 80s, early 90s. It was a small, very nimble, on top of all the technology. And it's very refreshing to know that I'm growing a Fortune 500 company that now I can share with my partners on this team, and they can get the opportunity of healthcare. They can get the opportunity of investments into stock options, in addition to revenue share. It's incredible, these type of opportunities that people can scale their lives. It's not just about selling houses. It's about having different options to be able to retire one day, to have that experiential life that we talked about earlier, to be able to experience life because you have time back, because now you're plugged into a high level, high functioning business that allows you to just do the 5 most important things every day from a real estate perspective. And I've seen real estate agents come and go in this industry, great real estate agents come and go because they have a real estate practice and they haven't transitioned to a real estate business. By partnering with our team, you are joining a real estate business that now you can build a multi-million-dollar real estate production sales business by just tag teaming on the infrastructure that we put in place with our company. So it's a true opportunity for a new agent, for a seasoned agent, for a broken wing agent that's struggling in the business that needs something new to revitalize their life. We've had all these different type agents join our team, and they're seeing immediate success because we're teaching, training, and motivating them the way that it has to be done in a shifting market. The old-time agents, sometimes you have old agents that you have to break bad habits. The new agents don't know any better, so they're just doing exactly what we said. And the agents that are struggling now in the business that may have been selling $5 million or $10 million in production a year that had a huge drop-off in their business is starting to say, well, this is how I'm supposed to be doing this. Let me implement this, and now I'm seeing success again, opposed to just disappearing like a lot of agents are going to be doing over the next couple of years. Or a couple of months, quite frankly, when the renewals come up. But Place is offering us something to scale our business and to have other agents that are entrepreneurs that want to run a business within our umbrella, that same opportunity. So I think it's an incredible game changer for not only the two of us, but everybody that decides to partner and take this journey with us over the next 2 to 3 years.
The business planning that we've been doing, and they've been talking about it, so it's been maybe a little longer than 2 weeks of immersion, like just completely immersed in planning your business for the next year. And so there's have been several trainings from several different angles within. And then we had that call with Brandon Burchard, which was about setting your goals. And then we have a 2-hour workshop or business planning mini clinic with them to prepare your version of what you want your life to look like. And then we come together and do the team business plan. I've never had it so detailed and so broken down to where come January, there are no questions asked about what I'm going to need to do to get to what I need to do with my goals. And then it makes it where it almost alleviates or takes the pressure off of focusing on what to do with my business and then just focusing on just doing the activity and being able to service the clients at a higher level. Because there is, whether you like it or not, or whether we want to talk about it or not, selling real estate, you still have to make money doing it, and there is a pressure for income to come in. And so when you're worried about it, or when it's stressing you out, or like if you can take that off the plate and actually just do the selling and the servicing of clients and helping them out, it's a world of difference. First of all, it's a great business to be part of. It really is.
It's enjoyable.
It is enjoyable. And being able to help somebody move into a house and actually be invested in them and being right there with them and not worried about your business or your life or your whatever it is on the side is a valuable tool to give to them. I don't want my dentist thinking about something else when they're in, doing my thing. I don't want my hair person cutting my hair and not thinking about, like, you need to be there with everybody. And this business planning, I don't know if you want to call it, it's been kind of a marathon for a couple weeks now, and all the trainings, it is getting me to where I'm like, okay, this feels really good, where by the time we're done, and ours is November 6th, by the time we're done, we can stop talking about it now and then just go do it.
Work.
Just go do it, and we can just actually enjoy the business plan is built, and then we can enjoy actually doing the business, which is going to be really refreshing this year. What are you finding with your sellers? Is everybody like extra scared? Are they mad? Or was the emotion, is it the same if you just don't listen to the noise? Like, what do you want to? It's different out there, but is it?
I am constantly relaying the information from the top down that we're getting from Place, from Goldman Sachs, from different real estate gurus, to be able to coach and consult my customers at the highest level. They need to be ahead of the market. They need to understand the consequence of not doing things now if they wait. And I'm having some serious conversations with them to make sure they're well aware that if we don't do X, Y, and Z, we may not sell your home. We may not get you to your end game. And if you have to be somewhere in a certain number of days, a certain number of months, there are going to have to be some concessions made in order to do that. Now, does that mean something we need to do for the prep work of the house, the preparation of the house? Do we need to increase the value by doing something to upgrade the home, or do we need to talk about price? Price usually drives everything. Most people are usually open to some type of price adjustment. But it's just having good, hard, honest conversations with people. And I can't tell you, consulting agents for the last 10 to 20 years, 10 to 12 years we've been running a team, and consulting agents, how many agents are timid about having challenging, deep conversations with people? They tell you what they want. They tell you what they need. You have to be able to relay the information. Quite frankly, it's either the agent doesn't know any better or not willing to have the guts to have those hard conversations. I want my customers to know, no matter what, throughout the process, he told me the truth. He shot me straight. At times, I didn't want to hear what the heck he had to say, but he looked me right in the eye and he got me to where I wanted to go. And when you hire me or an agent or a partner on this team, I coach and consult them to do the same thing, because I would expect them to do it if I wasn't there. And sometimes we have to double team, tag team, bring in another agent, just get a different perspective. But people are coming to the realization what they could do 6 months ago is just not going to happen in this market. And you must be open, or you must be open to do what needs to be done, or remove your home from the market and decide not to move. And either one's okay. But the bottom line is, if you're telling me this is what the goal is, this is what I have to do in order to move forward. If you're not, I tell people on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're not at 8, 9, or 10, don't even enter the market. You're wasting your time, you're wasting my time, and you're wasting all the buyers' time. You have to go in understanding the house is a commodity. You have to be priced appropriately, and you have to be in the best possible condition if you're going to sell. If not, No need to even waste anybody's time. Take a deep breath, wait 3 to 5 years, the market will rebound. It's not in the gutter. Houses are certainly selling. There's houses selling every day. We're selling tons of houses in the fourth quarter. It's happening for everybody. But, it's important that you're the shiny penny. And the only way to be the shiny penny is to be in the best possible condition, priced appropriately with the right proper agent. And I think we hit all three of those at a pretty high level. So a lot of deals are falling apart right now. There's a high percentage of homes that are falling apart. People are coming together, but that is the importance of knowing I always impress with customers and my agents when they're consulting with customers. This is what's going to happen next. This is the proper expectation. This is what's to be expected. Now, what's to be expected may not always happen, and that's the job to keep us within margin and keep those emotions in check along the way. But there are an overabundance of homes that are going under contract and for various reasons falling off the market. And anytime you see a shift in the market from a seller's market to a buyer's market, it's very commonplace. So it may be a couple of months for this to flush itself out and people to come to the realization that this is what the rates are if I'm going to buy. These are the concessions I'm going to have to give up if I want to sell. But I think if you can be ahead of the game if you're aligned with the right realtor that's been through this once before, that knows market conditions just like this, that have been through a challenging, shifting market. Most realtors, quite frankly, they say like almost 60 or 70% of realtors that are in the business right now haven't been in the business more than 5 to 7 years. So they haven't never even talked about a price reduction to a seller. They don't know what to tell their people because they're lost in the dark. So that's when these realtors that have been around the block, that have gone through a lot of things, that have a lot of wisdom, can really rise to the occasion and capture a lot of opportunity. And that's what we're doing. That's what the agents on our team are learning from us and learning from Place and the operators throughout our company. So being properly prepared on the front end and knowing the right questions and answers to give your customers are going to really set your opportunity apart from achieving your goals from a customer standpoint.
Thanks for watching. If you liked our content, please feel free to watch more videos on our channel or by visiting www.thewilliamsteam.com. See you for more.